Dear sisters and brothers, Achyotai ve'echai, from the President's residence in Jerusalem, to you all, Jewish communities anywhere, everywhere, I want to send my warmest wishes for a happy Pesach to all of you, to your families. Pesach kasher v'sameach, happy Passover. In a season of movement and change, we gather with our loved ones around Seder tables everywhere to tell a story that has traveled with us since the beginning, across every generation and in every place our people have walked. It is a story of freedom, a story of renewal and radical faith, a story of resilience that has inspired humanity across cultures. It is a story that has defined our people across history at large. So, dear friends, sisters and brothers, clearly we're at a difficult hour. In Israel, we're at war for our lives, for our freedom, and also for the freedom of the world. At the same time, you encounter these familiar flames of hatred and anti-Semitism all around, in forms of old and new anti-Semitism, which consumes so much of our path. It is deeply painful, but in this Passover season, the wisdom of our tradition helps us recall something bigger. The truth is, the deep and abiding spirit of our people has always carried us, and it will carry us for the future as well. It allows us to look with open eyes at pain and difficulty, and still to lift our eyes towards what awaits, to see the promised land, to see the future, to see the strength of our people, and even, as in the tradition of Moses, leap forward into the ocean and trust that ground awaits beneath. So, dear friends and family, let us continue to lean into the faith and resilience that are our greatest gifts. Let us recall together as a people bound by history, destiny, and love, one nation, Am Echad, what truly holds us in these challenging times. And let us look to the future with optimism, faith, strength, insistent belief in days of safety and well-being and peace, which will come for Israel, for the Jewish people, and for the world. Toda Rabba to all of you. Chag Pesach kasher v'sameach. Bless you all. May we all celebrate Pesach happily, joyfully, with safety and well-being for our people.
To our wonderful Jewish American community and to Jews celebrating in Israel and around the world this week, I want to wish you a very happy Passover. Over 3,000 years ago, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob delivered the ancient Israelites out of slavery and brought them into the promised land. It was an amazing period of time, just like today we have an amazing period of time. The journey started with faith in God's word, and it ended with a miraculous march through the Red Sea and an astounding exodus out of Egypt. The world has never been the same. This week we recall this ancient proof of God's faithfulness and are reminded that with true faith, eternal hope, and the power of prayer, nothing can stop the people of God. As Jewish families and loved ones gather together for Seder dinner, we ask that God will continue to watch over the Jewish people and that he may continue to preserve and protect the United States of America for generations to come. Our country is doing better than it has ever done. I am very happy to report. Happy Passover.
Look at my SMBs. If you are new to the channel, kindly like, share, subscribe, and do not forget to hit the notification bell. Please, I think that Michael, we have seen a surprise address from Donald Trump himself and from Benjamin Netanyahu talking about the Prime Minister of Israel pertaining to this Passover we are looking at. And I think Donald Trump was emphatic about the need to save lives, not just in America, not just in Israel, but globally, particularly when it comes to Christians. We don't forget that we have seen a Benjamin Netanyahu in the past who specifically mentioned the need to save Christians in Nigeria. And we know that when we talk about Christians in Nigeria, Biafra comes to mind. And in this recent address, he didn't even leave Nigeria and Biafra out of his own conversation. It will look as if Benjamin Netanyahu actually know that blood is thicker than water. The reason is referring to contact with the Biafras. Let me get a take. Yes, that was a very good one for those who understand the statement of the world leaders. You know, when I'm talking about world leaders, I'm talking about those who are making decisions for the corporate existence of the whole world. Yes, the Christians have just finished their Lent, and we saw that attack that took place in Jos and other places within Nigeria, and coupled with the record already on ground. That's it, though. Biafra was totally covered, where the Israeli Prime Minister insisted or made a statement that the only way out is that to divide and create a safe zone, a Christian safe zone for the persecuted Christian communities in Nigeria. Making it very clear that the world leaders might have decided at this point in time to proclaim and recognize Biafra as a sovereign nation to stop genocide in Nigeria. And if you look at it very clearly, that is a very deep and good decision to make. Because by the time you declare Biafra, these attacks, conquest agenda, will naturally die. That is why we are seeing Donald Trump, we are seeing the Israeli Prime Minister, we are seeing the Italian government, the Pope, and the rest of them begin to rally around, the recognition of Biafra, and the whole thing is going to blow up in the global media platform. Not minding that Nnamdi Kanu is still in detention there in Sokoto. Well, I can tell you, another person that added value to the issue of breakup in Nigeria was the American missionary Alex Babi that had just left Nigeria. Now, some people have argued that Nnamdi Kanu's lectures, advocacy, which we understand likely still play on major social media platforms, is what is having multiply effect while we are seeing people coming out to pick up the agitation from where he left, where he dropped it, even as he's been incarcerated. Let me get a take. A lot of people are actually, surprised, devastated, overwhelmingly, doubting the possibility. How can Nigeria become a democratic nation where we respect rules and laws, and to an extent committing the worst judicial suicide in the history of Nigeria by sentencing Nnamdi Kanu? Unwillingly, the Nigerian government, they didn't know that the whole world was watching and following the court proceedings of Nnamdi Kanu. And immediately that sentence happened, that is when we begin to see all manner of things happening. We saw that the first time in the history of Nigeria, bomb landed in Sokoto. The first time in the history of Nigeria, the United States government sent delegates to Herzog. For the first time in the history of Nigeria, we are seeing a mission. That's a lot of things begin to play out completely. But just for one man who maybe some world leaders or some countries or some nations started doubting him whether what Nnamdi Kanu was actually saying at that point, whether it is correct or not. But you can see, Nnamdi Kanu is being celebrated all over the world, and people are making references to him. And that is the picture. So, Nnamdi Kanu, at this point in time, has become a determinant factor. Nnamdi Kanu has become a reference point. Nnamdi Kanu's agitation, and of course, has exposed a lot of things to Nigeria about what is going on in Nigeria. And more recently too, we are seeing the first time in the history of the northern Nigeria where the Hausas are now rising to ask Christians that Fulani must actually leave their land. Causing of massive Nnamdi Kanu. So if you can see the rising influence globally of the recognition of Biafra, nations are looking at it. What do we do? I think this should be the only solution to Nigerian problem, and that is why you are seeing they are now proposing that to stop genocide in Nigeria is to recognize Biafra. Now, because of the area I just touched, we understand that there have been some advocacy pertaining to the Hausas coming up to say, yes, there's not like Hausa Fulani. Initially, when it started, of course, it was some elites from America that started, but currently, we are seeing that those who could not even know they arrived on their left, Hausas, coming up to say, no, leave us alone, the Fulanis. And you think Nnamdi Kanu's advocacy is what are going to this level? Yes, now, people are calling for Yakubu Gowon to speak up about what is happening in Nigeria. Yakubu Gowon has been very silent. He has not been able to say anything. Till this moment, he has been absolutely silent. The other time, Yakubu Gowon, it's a long time now, was with a peace, asking that let us de-escalate all these killings. There's no thing Gowon has said reasonably at this point in time. Gowon has not decisively criticized, because I think Gowon is ashamed of himself by now for the people he actually defended and fought on their behalf, and was killing his own people now. No, he has been silent. We don't know, that silence, what it actually means, or it's an admission of regret. That's what people are saying. That Gowon's silence is an admission of regret. But notwithstanding, Gowon and Nigeria has come to the point where they are now trying to understand that possibly Odumegwu Ojukwu would have seen what they didn't see as at 1967. Gowon, without being told, is full of regrets. Of course, why we are calling the United States government, why we are not mentioning United Nations, whose responsibility is to seek for conflict resolution and make sure that peace responds to nations and communities the way it's supposed to be. But they're not playing their role in that regard. The EU not playing their role in that regard. The ECOWAS are not playing their role in that regard. Now, they are taking it upon themselves as a responsibility, to speak on behalf of the Jews all over the world, on behalf of the Biafrans all over the world, on behalf of Christians all over the world. And you can see what that actually means. And this is the same position. Remember, before now, what Nnamdi Kanu said, it is only Donald Trump that can be able to defend Christians all over the world. And that is why you saw, that advocate from Middle Belt, making it very clearly that Donald Trump is the defender of Christians. And that is why a lot of people are saying very clearly that for we to stop genocide, and if you look at it very well, the only way to stop genocide in Nigeria is not by continuing in the unity of Nigeria, because the unity of Nigeria is only been seen as a means of infiltration to carry out and Islamize Nigeria. And by that, they kill. So the only way out to stop genocide in Nigeria is to declare Biafra a secessionist and recognize Biafra as a sovereign nation out completely from Nigeria. Thank you very much for your time. This is a good way to let it go.